Hi, I'm Jessica. I'm 23 years old and I am a BDR at a fast growing startup. Throughout my tenure, which is a little less than a year, I've already been able to eat at a Michelin restaurant for free, fly across the world, drive my dream car, about to move into my dream apartment. I will have hit my goal net worth that I set myself for the end of the year 4 months early. And from that, I am very convinced that being a BDR, the role that I am in right now, is the best job to have in your 20s if you are a highly ambitious 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 year old. So a BDR is a business development representative. BDRs are essentially responsible for booking meetings with potential prospects, either cold or warm, for sellers to close deals. And usually it's a quota-based job where your quota is based on bringing qualified meetings as well as driving pipeline growth for the business. So here are the 5 reasons to why a BDR role is the best job to have in your early 20s. So number 1, if you are good at your job, you are indispensable. For new startups, the BDR role has a lot of responsibility. So if you are generating a lot of pipeline for the company, then you really are indispensable and it's really hard to fire you. Because you know that your employment is directly tied to potential pipeline growth for the company. What a BDR has to do is they have to understand personas that are willing to buy the product. Therefore, you also shift how the startup is going to be evolving their product based on what they are seeing their customers want. You do a lot of finding ICPs through trial and error, as well as developing the messaging of the company or the vibes. I'd say if you're a BDR right now, some good signs that you are in the right startup for your role is moments that may not seem good at the moment, and this is raised quotas. So if you see quotas actually becoming more relaxed and shrinking, it means that the company is figuring out how to crunch numbers to minimize the workforce to hit these new lesser targets. So when you have a raised quota, this is actually a very good sign that they are looking to grow you guys, and it's going to be a lot harder to shrink the workforce. But what BDRs are truly indispensable, because BDRs get fired all the time. Booking meetings is great, but if you have a talent to book with hard to reach people and decision makers, the business cannot get rid of you. This is a skill that a lot of people lack, and if you have it, they've struck gold on you. So why is a BDR role a dream for any 20-year-old? So often are 20-year-olds having to understand office politics like a baby deer. When you enter a job that has a quota and it's not based on just vibes, or it's based on promise career like ladders of promotion that were created out of nothing, office politics finds its way to snake itself in. And this puts 20-year-olds at a huge disadvantage because, one, you have less time or company tenure in that company, as well as less time just navigating office politics in general. Promotions in a quota-based job means that you don't have to rely on brown-nosing your boss, attending the happy hours to get in front of leadership, or working to get invited to dinners because your director is going to be there. It's ironic, but if you're an introvert that hates to deal with niceties involved with office politics, sales might actually be the best job for you. Because if you can just put your head down and work, then the promotion is going to come your way. Number 2, you're not in project psychosis. The most disappointing scenario for a highly ambitious person is when they work as hard as they can and they make the same salary as Joe over there, who is doing no work besides walking to the water cooler every hour and essentially filling his spot until retirement. When I was in my cubicle job, I would go through a wash, rinse, repeat cycle where I would do a project, or I would be assigned a project, I would do it faster than expected, wait around for a few, and then present that project or hand it over, and then do another project. All doing this while thinking to myself, who actually cares about this project? Are they just trying to keep me busy? And is this actually worth anything if I'm making the same salary as that guy over there who is doing nothing? Here's the beautiful thing about being a BDR. The only project that you really have is the same project that the company has, which is to drive revenue. And you're doing it in the most direct way possible, which is booking meetings with the guy that can sign a check or a guy that can lead you to the guy that can sign the check to make revenue for your company. So even if you're investing in things like doing small projects or you're making a workshop for other BDRs to learn from, you are still directly helping your own self make money, which in turn, as a byproduct, helps the business make money, which is what the business likes. So when I work on experiments on myself and I create write-ups that I send to the team, my managers will thank me for my hard work, when reality, it's a very selfish act because I'm really just helping myself and I'm just letting them know, like, this is what I'm doing. And even better, while you're doing all this, you're also developing a skill that can help you when you eventually want to work for yourself. That leads me to my next point, number 3. It's the most transferable skill to eventually work for yourself. So working for yourself is an eventual byproduct if you are a very ambitious person. Even if you don't think you want to work for yourself right now, you will eventually, because once you start progressing in your journey, you won't have the appetite to work under someone else for long. A common misconception of the reason why people work for themselves is because they will make more money. But if you actually do the math, you make a lot less per hour than if you were just at a steady 9-to-5 that was a consultant or a banker or a software engineer somewhere. Most people look at the income of like year 5, but they don't look at like the first 8 months when that person was making no money and was in a deficit. So it's really not about money on why you would want to work for yourself in the first place. It's really just about providing value to the world in the way that you see fit and spreading your ideology to how things should be ran, prioritized, valued in the world today. So if there's anything you currently see in the world that you wish you could change, money is probably the vehicle in which to do that. And if there are issues in the world that you would like to see changed, you have the power to change them through whatever means necessary, and the most important skill to do that is to connect with people, finding them and learning about them enough to meet them in the middle, and that's exactly what a BDR does. It's taught me how to find, meet people in the middle with decision makers of some of the biggest unicorn startups in the world today. Another byproduct of this role is that you have the ability to make impressions on others. And it's what comes with, if you sell them good in business, then they will remember you, usually by introduction, because that's most of how you were able to connect the pieces together. You can use this in your advantage to make connections outside of just your company and build a network for yourself. And I'm not saying to like try to be friends with every single lead that you brought into the company, but it's something you can use when you eventually want to work for yourself. And if there are any leads that you connected with on a personal level, being famous is a great asset in this world. It's a great thing to strive for. A famous quote from Stanford professor said in his lecture of how to speak, "You can get used to being recognized, but you will never get used to being ignored." And so this goes with my final point, getting on a rocket ship. So working at a startup and selling to other startups is how you can learn 1,000 more lessons than if you were to learn them yourself. And the slowest, most expensive way to learn is through trial and error. This is why most things were invented, such as colleges, textbooks, books, online courses. It's so that your time and money can be optimized to learn something in a data-driven, but also generalist way where it is very palatable for the mass majority. So working at a startup allows you the same type of learning, but for running a business. This is also, to be clear, not like an Anthropic really, but a startup that's going into the weeds of it. Seeing how they handle competitors, working on becoming more exposed in the market, learning from their mistakes, seeing how they distribute their VC funds after a raise, expanding their teams gracefully after that raise. And these are just all great things to learn for free. that you can ask questions about and like do one-on-ones with people about if you want to understand it better for your own ability to do it. Again, these lessons are best learned from a startup that right before they're famous and big. So not Anthropic today, but Anthropic 5 years from now when they just started. Another criteria would be a startup that is struggling to sell by their name only, but they have large ambitions to be in the center of the spaces they operate today. When you're getting on a rocket ship, you don't worry about what seat you're on. So if you're gonna take a BDR role, take it like you're taking a rocket ship. Take it somewhere where you can learn from the customers that you actually admire outside of just your company, a product that you can stand behind proudly, and a company vision that you see eventually making for yourself in the near future.